back. Well, after raising more than $1.5 billion during her failed election campaign and ending up with $20 million in debt, it seems Kamala Harris is desperate for more cash because the vice president is still reportedly pumping Democrat donors for money weeks after the election loss. Joining us now is journalist, writer and co-founder of the Based Politics podcast, Brad Palumbo. Brad, good to see you. Look, either the Democrats have no idea how to manage money or can't read the room. I suspect both at this point. But how bad of a look is this?
It's pathetic and insulting. I mean, you blew $1 billion, including on celebrity endorsements and building six-figure podcast sets to be built up for an hour interview and then torn down. And yet you have the audacity to come to hardworking Americans who can barely afford to buy groceries, many of them, because in part due to the Biden-Harris administration's policies, and say, give us more money. We squandered it all. Now we're millions in debt. They should hang their heads in shame. But also, any American, I mean, they send these fundraising emails because they work, right? And any American who is actually still giving these people money needs to get their head checked, because you could be sending malaria nets to Africa. You could be feeding the homeless, but instead you're giving Kamala Harris more money. At this point, to people, their capacity for stupidity sometimes does amaze me, honestly.
Hey, Brad, Hollywood. That was a story about Kamala Harris begging for more cash after the election loss. As a French guy, as a European, I find it really, really repelling that you have actually to spend so many millions on a presidential campaign to have a chance to get elected. So basically, you are a billionaire and then you can run for president, or you ask money to the donor class, and then once you are elected, you basically do what the donors are telling you to do, right? That's really sad. I find it really, really sad. That's how it works in America. So let's hear the story next about the billion
Kamala
loss.
Harris's campaign has ended in financial turmoil, according to multiple media reports. Despite raising over $1 billion, the campaign has reportedly finished at least $20 million in the hole. According to a Politico reporter, two sources say Harris's campaign is now $20 million in debt after raising over $1 billion and still having $118 million in the bank as of October 16th. FEC filings confirmed the Harris campaign had a total of more than $1 billion raised, spending approximately $900 million of it by mid-October. But 3 weeks later, even that $100 million left over was dried up and then some.
That's such a huge amount of money spent in such a short time for a failed campaign. That's really sad. That's really, really sad. Very, very unfortunate. Imagine what you could do with that amount of money, right? Spend in advertising and celebrities endorsement. Very, very unfortunate.
In contrast, Harris raised twice as much as Trump. FEC filings show Trump's campaign raised less than $400 million and still held a cash reserve of $36 million. Breitbart News also spoke with several sources inside the Harris campaign, who confirmed they were now $20 million in debt, largely pointing blame at campaign chair Jen O'Malley Dillon. A campaign staffer told Breitbart people didn't like working with her. Many people on the campaign felt like we lost because Kamala wasn't allowed to run her campaign. They were running Joe Biden's campaign instead of a Kamala campaign. Obnoxious and very much a gatekeeper and interfering with the vice president's people who were trying to do their job.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's what happened when you try to switch up candidate last minute, right? That's what happened, and you should know better. That was actually, there wasn't any vote to put Kamala as a running candidate, right? So it's very sad to see, and the Democratic Party should try and do better next time around if they want to actually win.
Inside the campaign, staffers were reportedly unhappy with the handling of finances, with some still allegedly waiting on overdue payments for their work. Where did the $1 billion go? A large portion on advertising, nearly $700 million, according to the ad tracking company Ad Impact. A six-figure ad blitz in October was spent on flying banners over 4 NFL games in swing states, according to the New York Times. In November, in the final days leading up to the election, the campaign spent nearly $500,000 a day to have ads displayed on the Las Vegas Sphere in the swing state of Nevada, according to The Guardian.
$500,000 a day. Every single day. That's insane. It's insane. That much money completely blew up.
Campaign staffers who spoke to Breitbart also attribute the drain of dollars on high-profile concerts featuring singers like Katy Perry, Lizzo, and rapper Eminem. The staffers say that was one of Dylan's ideas. According to staffers Breitbart spoke with, faced with $20 million in debt, Harris's deputy campaign manager is reportedly shopping Kamala Harris's fundraising email list to anyone willing to pay in an effort to recoup the campaign's losses. Thanks for watching our news update.
Yeah, okay. So that's basically that much money spent. 1 billion spent during Harris' campaign and 20 million in debt, and she is still begging for cash wished after the election loss because her campaign is end up with 20 million in debt, so she needs to repay that debt and asking for more money afterwards after the huge loss. And I'm not sure if any supporter is willing to give her money for the loss. That's sad. That's really sad. So let's hear about this interview.
And although Oprah says she wasn't paid a cent by Harris, the campaign did pay her company $1 million to produce Oprah's star-studded town hall. Well, isn't that paying? And the Harris team reportedly spent 6 figures to build that set I told you about on that Call Her Daddy podcast, which I got her hundreds of thousands of views, but I mean, I don't know that it was cost effective. And then you got Eminem. Then you got Beyonce. So let's talk to somebody who lived it, okay? And is speaking out now with her own concerns. Lindy Lee joining us now. Lindy, thank you very much for taking the opportunity.
I'm a huge fan of yours. I've watched you for like a decade. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, it is good to be here. And let's start just with you for a second with this question. What are you doing? Talking about what happened in the campaign and absolutely putting a target on your head, let alone your back. Why would you do this?
If we don't confront reality, if we don't address these very serious issues, we're going to keep losing. And I really like what you've said, earlier in the segment. If we don't recognize that America is shifting rightward, we are going to keep losing. If we don't have a financial accountability and some sort of very serious accounting of how exactly we spent $1 billion in 2 to 3 months, how are donors and even everyday Americans who gave their $10 and $25 ever going to trust the Democratic Party again? We need a serious postmortem to show that we're learning the lessons, that we are exposing everything that went wrong, and that we are going to do better in the future. We can't just throw everything under the rug and assume that daddy's going to fill the piggy bank again.
Yeah. I totally agree with what she's saying right there. You should try to learn what went wrong and try and do better for the future. Otherwise, you're going to keep losing once again. That much money lost for nothing. It's really sad. Very, very unfortunate.
What do you think of these allegations of what Oprah, I mean, either they paid the production company or they didn't. I've never heard of people getting paid for endorsements. Paid to perform, maybe, but usually they give it. But do you believe it?
It's not a matter of believing. It's literally in the report. And she can deny it however much she wants to, but it says Harper Productions on the FEC report. I really don't know how you get around that. It's her company, and she may not have gotten paid personally as a person, but it paid her company. So I think this is a matter of semantics. She got paid. And it's just, if my donors had known beforehand that the money would be dispersed this way, I do not think they would have given. It's a sacred trust. These people, a lot of my donors have worked hard all their lives. And again, these are everyday Americans around the country. I didn't just deal with big donors. I also fundraised grassroots donors who gave $25, as I mentioned. I did something called Geeks and Nerds for Harris. People are giving like $10 to $15. These are people, some people are living paycheck to paycheck. So it's a sacred trust for them to give money to a campaign. It is our utmost responsibility to use that money in a responsible manner and to not treat it as OPM, which is other people's money.
I agree. I think the Kamala Harris camp ran a very poor campaign. It was a very bad campaign, and Trump and the Republicans did a lot better to reach the average American people, the working class, and show them how they're gonna improve their life. And Kamala Harris focused on issues that actually didn't matter for this election, unfortunately.
If we can't handle campaign money the right way, how can taxpayers, how can Americans possibly trust us that we would handle taxpayer money the right way?
Look at all these celebrities that got paid to endorse Kamala Harris. George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Oprah Winfrey, Robert De Niro, Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, Leonardo DiCaprio, Eminem. It's actually insane. And they didn't move the needle at all. It was completely useless. Nobody cares about what the celebrities are saying. Nobody cares about who they are endorsing. People care about their own lives, how they are gonna afford groceries at the end of the month to nourish their families. That's the most important and urgent issue to reduce the cost of living.
Did you think you were going to lose?
This is a very hard question. Very hard. So we were told 100% that we were going to win up until I think 9 to 10 p.m. on election night, which is stunning. I had a DNC official telling me on the night of...
Completely delusional. They thought they were gonna win. Completely delusional. They didn't understand anything that was going on. It's sad to see. They should definitely try and learn from this loss, otherwise they're gonna keep losing.
That we were going to win Ruby Red Iowa. And I was just looking, I just was wondering if he thought I was stupid. He said it in earnest. I also found out that the guy's being pushed out, the same guy who said that to me. Actually, I think the entire DNC leadership is going to change in the next couple of months. There's going to be hell to pay. This is not a 2016 loss. This is a shellacking. This is not a squeaker race. This is a resounding defeat. It pains me to say that. As you said, I put a target on my back. Actually, you'd be surprised that I have dozens of donors blowing up my phone telling me to stay the course. They may not have the guts to say it or the platform, but they want me to keep going because it's their money too. And we let the American people down.
And Lindy, I know that you're worried about staffers and people who need the money, unlike the celebrities who haven't been paid yet. So here's what I can do. Whatever happens next, you have a platform here to discuss it, okay?
That's good. That's good that he is stepping up and offering our platform to point out what went wrong during the campaign. I think it's a great idea and it's a great gesture for Cuomo to do this.
Whatever comes out about you or you believe that isn't true or whatever it is, you've got a platform here to discuss it. You just give me a call and you got it, okay?
Oh my gosh, that's so kind. That's so kind. Thank you for saying that. I'm also not worried about me because I'm someone who's never even smoked marijuana. I don't even drink alcohol. So I live my life in such a rigid manner. I'm a workhorse, so I'm not afraid of what people could possibly say. It wouldn't be true. So come at me, everything that I've said, every single hour, it seems like what I've been saying has been substantiated. Just in the past couple of hours, we saw that the Harris campaign gave Al Sharpton his company $500,000, and a few moments later, he was endorsing her resoundingly. And this is not good optics. It's journalistic malpractice. Perception is reality in this industry. And
I can't disagree with anything you're saying, except the no drinking and marijuana thing. But hey, you make your own choices. You're always welcome here to discuss what happens next, okay? Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay, that was a great video. We learned a lot how they mismanage all the money. That much money wasted, completely wasted in an election campaign. It's sad to see. It's very, very sad to see, to end up in debt and still ask for more money to repay their debt. It's very sad, very sad. Thanks for watching today, guys. Thanks for staying with me. Click right here to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Bye bye.